Majestically. Oh my word! Fabulous. Oh, what a strike that is. Simply spectacular. Oh, it's an absolute beauty, isn't it? The best goal of the night. It all starts here.
Hello and welcome to the National League Vodcast. Now we've got a very special pod for you today. We've got an ex-Premier League striker who scored a very famous hat-trick and his son who's making huge waves in the National League this season.
Into the box is Lisby. If he scores here, then he does score. That is a superb goal by Kyle Lisby.
4-1, Mike, and I tell you what, that is Lisby.
Kyle Lisby doing amazing things. First of all, I just want to have a chat with you about the beginning, really, and what was it like growing up in the Lisby household?
Yeah, pleasure to have you here. Now, it's amazing, really, to grow up in a football household. It's so much, is the competition you can imagine in the household. Going to Power League, going to the forest to do hill runs, and it's just an amazing feeling, really, just growing up and always wanting to be a footballer because of your dad. You're at a young age and you're going to watch football games, and the fans and the crowds cheering your dad on, and you're dreaming of one day that to be you. So you can imagine the competition with
I can
me
imagine.
me and my brothers, and yeah, it's just honestly it's hard to put into words really of how special it is.
What's it like having a twin brother in Kyrie's?
Yeah, it's like it's weird really because people say we're the same person. It's like seeing two of us, and for me, I feel like we're so different, but at the same time, I do understand people say we're so similar. He's like a best friend, on and off the field. And I'm really really close with him. We talk about everything football. Growing up in school, like we couldn't be separated. Like growing up, it was a punishment for us to be separated.
Really?
Yeah. My mum used to separate us in different rooms when we got in trouble at school. So it was that's such a tight bond with my identical twin, Carice. It's special. It really is.
Away from the football, you and your brother set up a TikTok,
Yeah.
and it's doing amazing things. Just tell us about it. Tell us how it all started, really.
Yeah, so obviously there was a period of time where TikTok got viral and everyone started using it. And at first it was kind of like a dancing app, which
Can you dance?
I can dance. Yeah.
Okay, all right. You might have to show us a few moves later. But
Yeah, the lads know at in dressing room I can dance. But yeah, we had aspirations of going to the top one day, and we said, you know what, if we start posting now, if we start documenting our games, our journey, and our people can see from where we wasn't to where we are now, then I think we can really impact people's lives, and I think that's what we've done. We can. I think the content that we post is really really relatable. I'm not one of those people that only post my success on TikTok. I do post the times where I did get released from Watford. I do post the times where things wasn't quite working out, for example, at Welling when I wasn't playing. So people see it, people say, wow, like I followed him from when he was playing Sunday League and now he's playing in the National League. And for example, my twin, he's at a professional, Premier League academy. He's thinking, wow, like I was watching his TikToks when he was playing Sunday League and now he's at Brentford. So for example, the Charlton game, in the FA Cup of scoring in the FA Cup and then going to it the next day, that was my life. Whereas with him, he's waking up early, he's going to training and then he's home. So it's two different worlds, I would say. Getting released from Watford, I opened my eyes a lot. It's like the academy system is like a bubble, and when it kind of gets popped, you're exposed to the real world in working and in making a name for yourself. And it is very, very tough. And I do see why people give up. I do see why people say, this is too much. But for me, in my case, I wanted to use it as, if Carol can get released from a professional environment and keep going and bounce back, then I'm going to give football one more chance because growing up, you see so many people from Watford who they got released and some of them don't even play anymore. Or some of them say, you know what, I just don't have the love of the game anymore. And if my TikToks, if my journey can inspire someone to fall in love with football again, then I'll keep posting and I'll keep sharing my journey.
obviously, you say you use Kyrie's as motivation. Who else do you look at, and who else motivates you?
Yeah, for sure. My dad's a big inspiration. My dad's been through a lot, and like I said, growing up watching your dad, in a professional environment, for example, Leighton Orient, getting to see his day to day life, and you're just thinking, wow, like I want this for my life. You see the fans, asking for pictures. You see the fans, really, loving the player, their players. That's all I wanted really growing up was to feel loved in a football environment and to to put a smile on people's face.
And am I right in saying that your mum Joanna was the camera woman for a lot of your TikToks?
Yeah. My mum's been a big part of my life, on and off the pitch. My mum's kind of been that emotional support when things get tough. And my mum, she's at every home and away game. She's really a really supportive person in my life. Most of the clips that I have on TikTok is from her, where she's recording, fans' interactions, or she's recording my games, or just recording the behind the scenes. My mum loves it as well. So yeah, my mum's a big part of my journey as well.
Amazing. Well, you said about your dad, and what's your earliest memory of seeing your dad playing football?
I think it was Colchester. I think I was a mascot, just walking out, holding his hands and walking out, and just seeing all of those fans. I said, "Wow, like I want this for myself as well." And watching my dad when he scores at Leighton Orient, that's when I was kind of at an age where I could go and watch my dad
Hmm.
properly and have vivid memories of him playing. Was definitely Leighton Orient. That was yeah Leighton Orient for sure. Seeing him score goals, and there was a penalty shootout away from the championship against Rotherham. So yeah, good memories.
So this season at Braintree, signed in the summer, and you're scoring goals, doing brilliant. How have you found that?
Yeah, like joining from a Step 4 team, Cray Valley, having an excellent season to join Braintree. I was a bit nervous, to be honest with you, because there was interest with me in the lower leagues. But I said to my dad, we had a discussion. I said, we've always been about challenging ourselves and pushing our limits. So I'm going to take the Braintree opportunity. And I haven't looked back since. It's been an amazing season. The fans, the way they've got behind me and supported me this season has allowed me to perform in the way I am. The season's just been incredible. Just every game learning, just being like a sponge around the training ground and just constantly learning because there's so much experience in the dressing room that we have, with the senior lads, and there's so much experience in the National League for me joining as a 20-year-old for me to pick up and learn on. So the season's been so incredible. I wouldn't trade it for anything, just coming in on the first day pre-season to now, honestly, it's been amazing.
And is there any standout moments? Obviously, you scored 2 goals on Boxing Day, late Christmas present. But is there any other standout moments for you?
Yeah, definitely the Dagenham Redbridge game. That was definitely a standout, scoring two against them. But I think the most important one for me was Aldershot. Start of the season, coming on off the bench. I think that's really when my season kicked off. It was like a sense of I kind of belonged in this league. At first, coming off the bench and you're getting your minutes as you would, and then to come on at 1-0 down and change the game to 2-1, I thought, that's a memory that will live with me forever because just the feeling, the when I scored, and it was just amazing, honestly. Just constantly replaying the goal over and over, just watching the fans, the pure joy. To be on 10 goals this season is for me it's crazy. Like I set myself 5 goals this season because I saw the league. I watched some of the games and I said this is tough, but to be on 10 goals is 7 in the league and 3 in the cup is just like I said. It just shows a sense that I kind of do belong here. And yeah, it's just been phenomenal, really. Just the training sessions, obviously the change in managers as well. That was tough. I did kind of feel bad, when Angelo Harrop did leave because without him, I wouldn't be here, sitting talking to you because he put his trust in me and he put his belief in me. And without him, like I said, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to play for Braintree. So you do feel a sense of, I could have done a lot more for him. But obviously now, Steve Pitt's here. We want to. The main goal is just to stay up and to keep this club in the National League.
Well, one of your teammates is one of my former teammates, John Akinde. But who would you say is the joker in the dressing room?
Like you took the words out of my mouth. Jonah,
I knew it. I knew it.
he's honestly the funniest guy I've ever shared a dressing room in the change room. He has a serious side, but he has his jokey side, and honestly, there's not a day where the lads walk into the change room where he doesn't put a smile on your face, and he's just the funniest guy ever. Talking about senior boys as well, Ini Effiong, John Akinde, Jamal Flyfield, and even the skipper George Langston. They've helped me massively. Without them, I think I really would have struggled, but they went above and beyond to put their arm around me this season. And I'm really grateful for the senior boys in the dressing room. But yeah, in terms of jokes and funny, John Akinde's up there, 100%.
Obviously, you're doing great at the moment in the National League. What's what's the dream for you? What's the end goal for you?
Dreams just to get to the EFL, really. Especially coming from non-league, there's so many non-league footballers out there that dream of playing in the EFL and the Football League. And I think it'll be even more special coming from the non-league route, coming from Step 5, Woodford Town, to hopefully making my debut in the professional environment. I think that's a dream come true. Walking out, seeing my family, my friends in the stand, and just knowing that I belong here and that all the hard work's paid off. That would definitely be a dream come true for me.
Let's knuckle up!
Could I get a face-off with Conor McGregor?
Combat fighting in its purest form.
There is no show in the world like the BKFC.
47 years of promoting boxing. What a ride it's been. I was 23 years old at the time. I got an invite from the Boxing Board of Control to take a licence out. Back then, it was all run by the cartel.
We have a new promoter in British Championship Boxing, Frank Warren.
People liked it, I think, the fact that someone was taking the cartel on. I've never been afraid about shaking things up and working with new media.
This is a bit of a dream come true.
Pay-per-view, satellite TV.
Very proud of Amir. What he done was fantastic.
Bringing shows in from America Live. I've been lucky enough to promote some of the biggest names in boxing.
I'd like to thank Mr. Frank Warren for having me over here.
Just when you think it can't get any bigger, my mobile rang. We get this call from His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh. Off we went to the races. I'm as competitive as my fighters, and I fight for my fighters. I'm always looking for the next challenge, and I know there's one there now.
Queensbury arrives at the home of boxing, DAZN, multi-year deal, let's go.
This is a company that is devoted to boxing. They have a worldwide platform. And for us, that is very, very important to do what Queensbury is doing, to be expanding and building, working together for the betterment of boxing, as I believe it will be.
So many star names on show. What a spectacular goal! Ronaldo! And he finishes in typical style. And that surely wins it.
Now, as always, there's been some brilliant goals in the National League, but this is my top 3.
And Hartigan gets it forward towards Stead on the left channel, and Love has made a run into the penalty area. Stead drives into the penalty area now, pulls it across, and here's Brunt. He lays it off for Carnu!
Oh, brilliant.
Fantastic from the Bees there. And Zach Brunt atones for 2 misses earlier in the game by setting up Carnu with utter aplomb.
Senior sends that one up towards Luca Thomas. What a fantastic touch that is. And Owen Bray now takes on the shots and scores a magnificent goal. Owen Bray, 2 goals in 2 games, follows up his brilliant effort against Gateshead with yet another sensational finish.
Which is nice play. They look to switch the ball out to Sinclair on the left-hand side of Gibbs J Road. Shouts man ball from the Boston fans. Barry's there. Comes inside, shoots towards goal. That's a fantastic finish. It flies into the top corner. And York City have that early goal. Boston backed away. Tyrone Sinclair fires York into 3. Boston 0, York 1.
The National League never fails to deliver action, drama, and always goals. Go to the DAZN YouTube channel for more. So now I am sat down with a very special guest and my good friend, Kevin Lisby. Kevin, thank you, first of all, for inviting us into your home.
No problem. As soon as you've made the call, it's for me, it's more about Cairo than it is myself and the show and the league itself. But yeah, always a privilege to share my knowledge and my influences and my journey.
When did you first fall in love with football?
Yeah, I mean, I often tell this story. My kids are quite fed up of it, but I mean, I wasn't in the system at all. Obviously, as a young boy, I joined Charlton just before you get your scholar. So I was 15 years old. So I literally went in. I had 6 months to get a contract to get a scholarship, and not many people know that. I know people think that I was in the system, but I literally was asked to go on a trial, and it turned to be a 4 month period trial, and I end up getting my scholar after about 4 or 5 months of trialing at Charlton.
And before you went to Charlton, where were you? What
Sunday
level?
League.
Playing Sunday League
So
all the
I
way
was,
up until 15.
yeah, so I was playing Sunday League, scoring 70 goals a season.
Well, that always helps.
Yeah, exactly. My dream was just to play football. I never really saw anyone that could sort of influence me in terms of looking at someone and thinking that could be me. Not many people from Hackney actually become footballers. Might have been one or two. I look at my boys now and what they're going through. I didn't have a clue. My journey was so quick and painless. I spent most of my first year scholar training with the first team, so it happened really quickly. So you're talking about within a year, I went from being outside football to then training with a first team, and I sort of zoomed past everyone that was in the system for 4 or 5 years. So I made my first team appearance at 17 years old, from joining at 15 years old. Yeah, I'm learning the hard way now about the struggles of getting into the game through my boys. But yeah, as I said, I was really blessed.
Well, you had a brilliant Premier League career. The one standout moment that everyone, even my friends, still talk about. Whenever you mention Kevin Nisbet, we have to talk about the hat-trick against Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if many people know this, but all my family are Liverpool supporters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all of my mum, obviously John Barnes played for Liverpool,
course,
so
yeah.
everyone coming over from Jamaica all of a sudden gravitated to Liverpool, apart from me. I think at that present time as well, I was having a bit of a difficult time at Charlton as well, so I think the crowd wanted Di Canio to play, and I was playing. So it was a little bit of a between me and the crowd at the time, but obviously they were okay after that game.
Oh yeah, I bet they was.
Yeah, they were fine after that, only for a game or two.
Yeah, well, listen.
But yeah, I mean that Liverpool team, if I'm correct, I think they won the Champions League. I think the year before or the year after. So it was a really good team. You got the Steven Gerrards, you got the Carragher's, you got Michael Owen Heskey. So it was a real experienced team, and to score 3 goals was absolutely massive for me and my family. But to win the game as well, I think there's a different sort of dynamic when you get in the change rooms. You know what it's like. If we score a hat trick and you lose the game, inside we're happy, but the result does matter.
The second goal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I don't get that unless I get the first one as well.
But the movement.
Yeah,
and
I know.
Your body position.
Yeah.
Keeping your eye on the ball.
Yeah.
Like the detail.
Yeah, 100%. Watching around people, seeing I said that to the boys.
There's you look at the goals, they're all so different.
Yeah.
But there's so much detail
100%.
on each goal.
100%. Yeah, it's one of those moments that will, in the time, you don't realise what you've done and what you've accomplished. And Charlton being such a small club in the Premiership at that time, to score 3 goals against Liverpool and also to win the game with an average Premiership team was a real achievement for myself and the team.
Well, obviously this season in the National League, one of your sons, Kyrell, is doing brilliant at Braintree. How proud are you, when you see your kids going out there and doing what they love and doing it?
Yeah,
well?
you're right. The first thing is the thing they love in it. I think I've made sure I've never pushed any of them, and the reason we work so hard is because they tell me they want it. So it can't be the other way around, as you well know. Obviously, Kyrell had a good season last year at Crave Valley, and he was like, "Dad, I want to move up division." I'm like, "Son, just have another season in this division, cement yourself, have another good." Even though he scored 29 goals, he's like, "Nah, Dad, I want to move on." So then you speak to his agent and say, "Look, I want to get to a club." And I think there was 4 different clubs that made a bid in for him, and obviously Braintree were the only conference team. And then I remember coming out to meet, and it's funny, the manager said to Kyrell, he said, "Look, I've not seen you play, but I've looked at your stats, and I'm going to take you on stats." Now, for me and you, that is completely strange, isn't it?
Yeah, that's crazy.
I wouldn't go anywhere that a manager hasn't seen me.
Yep.
But obviously, the way football is at the moment, everyone goes by stats, and
well, it's a different time.
100%. So then we sort of come out of the office, and I'm saying, "Son, that's not for you. Like, and he was like, Dad, I want to go there. And I was like, I don't think it's for you. And he's like, I'll go there and I'll prove myself and I'll show the manager that I'm good. And I'm like, all right, fair enough. And that's exactly what he's done. That's exactly what he's done. And I don't know if he's actually mentioned it, but the manager obviously said to him after the first 3 games, he said, look, I don't know if I can trust you yet, so I'm not going to play you. So that's a conversation he actually had with Cairo. I remember Cairo called me. It was the day of the game. He was actually in the change room. He said, look, Dad, this is what the manager said to me. And I said, look, son, just get your head down and do what you're doing. And as you know as well as I know, when a manager says he can't trust you, that's a massive red flag.
100%.
And then obviously they played that day as well. They were 1-0 down and he brought Cairo on. And he came on and he scored 2 goals.
Against Aldershot.
Against Aldershot, yeah. And if you look in the crowd, like, everyone's jumping up and down and I'm just still. And when he scores the first one, he equalises and he celebrates. I don't know if you've seen the Charlton game when he does a massive celebration.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, save a little bit for the game. You've got a game still. So he looks at me in the crowd and I'm inside, I'm absolutely bursting. And I'm just like that to him. I'm just like, calm down. It's 1-1. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then in my head, I'm thinking, go and get another one.
Yeah.
That's all I'm thinking. I'm thinking, it's okay getting 1 goal, but 2 goals then cements yourself for the next game.
Because you then go and, like you said, you go and get the win.
Yeah, you
It's
get the
one
win.
thing
Yeah,
to,
exactly.
when you score goals, you want to get the win at the end of it.
100%. So it's okay scoring goals. It's okay getting in the change room after and drawing 1-1 and you scoring that goal. But it's a completely different animal to come on at half time and score 2 goals and actually win the game and being the person who wins the game for your team.
I want to go back to when they were young and you started coaching them. When did you first think, you know what, these boys have got something?
It's funny because they were at Leyton Orient and it wasn't then. No.
In what way?
Hunger, desire, all of the things you needed to be a footballer, not talent-wise, yeah, but there was a lot of things missing and sort of question whether or not they really want it or they're doing it because of me. So then I sort of have to start figuring that out in my head. So I'm watching them play. I remember I've not spoken to them. I remember they were playing a game once and some guy come up to me and he was like, oh, that number 7's lazy, and it was one of my boys. And so I brought him back home after and I said, I don't ever want to hear that from anyone about us because that's not how we are. And then obviously they both got released. Them getting released was probably the best thing that's ever happened to them. It's a story that I tell and they won't like. So they went train at a ground. So I then booked the pitch when they got released at the Grand Leyton Orient train straight after them. So they finish at 7:30. So I booked the pitch for 7:30. So as Leyton Orient are walking off, we're walking on. So obviously they've seen all their teammates, their ex-teammates. So it's just lighting a fire underneath them. So as we're walking on, they're walking off. Like, I could see the disappointment, and I'm like, if you want it bad enough, this is the place you're gonna have to earn it.
That's incredible.
And they proved me wrong, and I could see they didn't want to do it, but there was something inside of them that said they had to do it to prove to everyone. And I think it was more that proving to everyone that we were good enough. And I remember our first session on the AstroTurf, I said, run there and come back. They ran there and come back, and they came back and I was like, why are you not running like that? And they said, that's how we run, Dad. I was like, okay, fair enough. And what you don't realise is when you're watching them play 5-a-side, 6-a-side, it's not open ground, is it? It's small areas.
Yeah.
And I just realised they couldn't run. They couldn't cover the ground. And that was their biggest problem. So if they went up the pitch and went back, they couldn't do it again. So as wingers, it's like you need energy to be able to take people on, and they sort of struggle to do that. So we done hill runs. So in between training, I took them we got Forest back here, we got a park, and we just used to do hill runs. And then all of a sudden they went to Watford, and the manager said, look, Kev, they're covering twice the amount of ground every other kid's covering.
Wow.
I played in the Premiership for 8 years. If I can't pass that knowledge on to my kids successfully, then it's sort of my fault. I would see it as in my responsibility to now, if we're talking about now and I give you instructions and you're not taking it on board, then I would be disappointed because you've had the grounding, you've had the training, you had the understanding, but you're now choosing not to use it. And I think that's when I would be more disappointed. But at that time, it was more about giving them the knowledge, giving them everything I had. And you got to remember, I started when I was 15. They were only 13 at the time.
Your boys are doing amazing things in terms of their TikTok.
I actually got the app TikToker. Oh yeah, I finally got it on my phone. So I actually go through their TikTok. They probably know now, and and I look at the videos they put up, and then more importantly, I look at the responses.
Yeah.
And some of the responses put me in tears rather than the actual videos. And in this generation, these young kids need people like them, because there's so many bad influences out there, and it's easy to be a bad influencer. And I think that, unfortunately, that gets more recognition
100%
than the good moments.
Yeah.
They are getting real good responses, and not only that, they're actually changing people's life, which is absolutely the most I could ever ask from any of my kids.
Well, Kev, thank you very much for taking the time out to sit down with us, and thank you for inviting us into your home.
No problem, anytime. Well, not anytime, but...
On Tuesday, February the 4th, we'll be bringing you multi-match live again. Our main game will feature Dagenham and Redbridge taking on Forest Green. But as always, we'll be bringing you goals and updates from the National League games that night. Join Curly and the best dressed pundit in the National League, myself, from 7:15 for that one. Also catch all the goals and action from this week's round of National League games with our highlight show, exclusively live on DAZN every Sunday from 4 p.m. Join us for the UEFA Women's Champions League draw show on February the 7th. We are live at 11:30 to find out who will be playing in the quarterfinals and semi-finals of the Women's Champions League this season. After the draw, we turn our attention to the knockouts. The 2 legs of quarterfinals will take place in March. The semis follows in April, and the final will be held in Portugal in May. You can watch it all on DAZN, the global home for UEFA Women's Champions League. That's it for this week's show. Thanks for watching. We will see you next week for part 2 of our extended interview with the Lisbys. See you then.
And again for Braintree Town, it's Kirill Lisby.